Alright, so check this out. So I have this iPod mini that's just been sitting in my closet, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea to open this thing up, but I did want to relive a moment I never had with the iPod mini. So today we're going to unbox the iPod mini 2nd gen for the first time. Now, I'm not a collector or a reseller, so I have no idea if this is a good or bad thing, but today we're going to bust it open. Alright, either way, this is the unboxing gadget. Let's dive in and let's get it. Now, fun fact, I found this on eBay on the Goodwill auction site about 4 years ago during COVID when I was stuck inside, had nothing to do. And I figured it was a good time to buy iPods. Shout out to DankPods. But I found this for $175. It was a sealed iPod mini 2nd gen. At the time, I thought it was a good price. So 4 years later, here it is. Now, to my knowledge, this isn't nowhere near as rare as like a sealed iPhone or even a sealed iPod original, the 1st gen. But to me, the iPod mini is what really got me to iPods growing up, because it was the first iPod I almost could afford, but couldn't quite afford. I couldn't get the 1st gen or the 2nd gen, so the iPod mini was almost the one I could get, but I somehow didn't get that one. I still ended up with getting an iPod Nano as my first iPod, but almost 20 years later, here we are. I finally have an iPod mini, sealed, brand new. So the unboxing experience is my first time. This is a big one for me. Let's dive in and let's unbox it. Alright, so there it is. We broke the seal for the iPod mini 2nd gen. Now, to me, this generation of iPod and Apple devices was some of Apple's best work. Time period is when Apple was really thriving, and it was honestly peak Apple in my opinion. I think they really took care of the consumer, and this iPod mini shows it. Now, it's kind of funny that they put "Don't Steal Music," but do you guys remember when we had to use Napster and LimeWire to download music and torrent and get music illegally? It's just funny that Apple always tried to say "Don't steal music," but come on now, everyone was putting music on their iPods illegally. At least I was. And honestly, for today, I don't know how you would get songs on the iPod since we have Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal, and all that stuff. Yeah, but drop a comment below if you actually know any cool websites to actually get music the legal way, that you can download and get on your iPod. Because now, honestly, I just use Apple Music and Spotify. I mean, I don't go buy songs anymore. I just use Apple Music. So it'd be cool to have a website I can go to at least download some music. Okay, so let's dive into what else is in the box. So opening this up, and we have some getting started guides. It's funny how far we've come where we actually have guides. Now, of course, we don't get anything in the box. We just get the phone or whatever the device is, but it's hilarious how back in the day, Apple really took care of the consumer. So we have some stickers. Love it when Apple includes stickers. We have the free music for your iPod. Of course, Apple trying to make you do the legal way of getting music. And then we have an install CD. Man, it's been a minute since I've seen an install CD. I'm so glad to see it here because it's a thing of the past, of course, but install CDs are always cool. All right, so we got the right side checked out. Let's check out the left side and see what we got. Now, I'm pretty sure the left side includes a charger, maybe some earphones, and yes, it includes pin connector to charge the iPod, which is pretty cool. I have, of course, a whole lot of these laying around. We have the hip clip. I'm surprised to see this. I'm not sure if all the iPods came with this. I know later on they stopped including this, but I'm glad they included this with the iPod mini because it's perfect for this. And then we have some earphones with some earphone covers. I'm not really sure those are covers or what, but earphone covers. They don't do that anymore. They don't include covers or anything like that. So there it is. The iPod mini 2nd gen comes with a whole lot of goodies. Like I said, this was peak Apple. I'm glad they included all this. I'm glad I got the chance to finally unbox an iPod mini 2nd gen to see what it's all about. Okay, so let's switch over and navigate to the computer and try and get this thing turned on. Now, I'm not going to use the original Apple cable. I'm going to use one I have in my drawer, that red one. See if it works. See if it charges it. See if it turns it on. Actually, feeling this iPod, it feels so good. I mean, I wish Apple's always known for top quality hardware, and this is no different. The iPod feels sturdy, feels great. Honestly, it feels like it's in 2025. Okay, so I plugged it up and the battery works. It's charging, so that's great. I don't have a dead battery. I don't have a pulling up battery. Everything seems to be good. Okay, so let's navigate to my computer and see if I can get it to show up. And surprisingly, it showed up. The iPod mini showed up on my computer. Now I'm on the newest Mac. I have an M3 Mac, and it just showed up, which is crazy. The fact that this thing still works just by plugging it in is pretty crazy. Now, I'm not sure if the earlier gen iPods work like this. You might have to have a few FireWire cables to hook up, but I'm shocked that this iPod mini just works by just plugging it in. So here we are getting started, It's just like day one. This is like I opened this from the original release date for iPod mini. I can even update it. I'm not going to update it or anything like that. If I go to manage storage, I can actually put songs, podcasts, audiobooks. So it's pretty cool. I mean, this feels like I just literally opened it years ago. So I'm finally glad I got to get this experience. Let's actually get this thing turned on too and see what's actually on the iPod now that I have it charged up. Okay, so I charged up the iPod a little bit and we have it turned on. So here's the iPod mini menu. Seems to be, your typical iPod menu. The backlight still works. This was a game changer, of course, when you needed it at night or you couldn't see. And we have the scroll wheel, and honestly, it's one of my favorite things about the iPod, this scroll wheel. Just like the OG iPods, you have your playlist, of course, on the go playlist. You can put music on it. Now, I'm not going to put any music on this. Maybe someday I will, but I'm just going to save this iPod in my collection. We have some extras, clock, contacts, calendar, notes. And what's crazy is the clock synced up to exactly the same time as today, which is pretty cool. I mean, honestly, this unboxing experience feels like the iPod just came out. It has an alarm clock, it has a sleep timer, so it has everything you would need. The calendar, does the date sync? Yeah, the date syncs up too. So yeah, I'm unboxing this on July 1st, 2025. So everything is lined up like I'm really unboxing this today. And then we have some games. Brick, music quiz, parachute, brick, of course, is your typical iPod game. Now, I do wonder with this iPod mini if you can load some of the Apple games like you could with the later on iPods, but I think these games would definitely do for this iPod mini. And then music quiz was always pretty cool. Test your knowledge on your music library. Parachute, not sure what that is, and I'm not sure what the other one was, but there's some settings, the about, main menu, and you can see here 3.7 gigabytes. Crazy. For that time, 3.7 gigabytes was a lot of songs. So it's crazy how much we've advanced now with just having all your songs on your iPhone. So there it is, the iPod mini 2nd gen. It's pretty cool. That hold button at the top, the build, the feel, everything feels so premium. And I'm really glad I got a chance to unbox this for the first time. Granted, it took me 20 years, but here we are. So, with that being said, here are my final thoughts on the iPod mini. In a world of streaming and smart everything, the iPod mini is a refreshing reminder that sometimes simple is just better. Whether you're here for the nostalgia or unboxing it for the first time just like me, there's something timeless about holding your music in the palm of your hand. No distractions, no notifications, just you and your songs. I think in the midst of AI, Apple should re-retro iPods and bring back a time when Apple was Apple. A time where we didn't rely on touchscreens to answer our problems. Just a click wheel and music. To me, it always been the song that makes it more enjoyable, especially when you find it, download it, and load it on your iPod. I think that's really what makes the whole music experience great. Either way, drop a comment below and let me know if you're still rocking your OG iPods. This was a fun one. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.